good blessed Tuesday afternoon, November the 29th, 2022. It's about 1:55 p.m. I'm here in Cairo, Illinois at the Lauren L. Shoemaker Jr. building. This is a building where there's going to be a meeting today concerning the replacement or tearing down this large building ahead here, which is the Cornell F. Smith Jr. building. They said because of an earthquake, but I'm finna go inside and see what's going on. I come to speak up for the people because people in Cairo, Illinois has been getting a bad end of the stick lately. They said this building, earthquake made the foundation, but the earthquake may make this foundation come down. That one gonna come down. We know this one here will too. But let's go inside and see what's going on.
Identify yourself.
Dan, that's Shirley.
And Ebony, could you speak up on the phone, please? Ebony McKinney, are you present? Yep, so she's present.
And everybody on the phone, if you are not speaking, could you mute your phone just so that other listeners can hear? Thank you. Thanks.
And Lisa Morgan, our property manager, will be taking notes and providing minutes. Ordinarily, we introduce everyone, but since we've got such great attendance today, in the interest of time, we're not going to ask everybody to identify yourselves. However, there'll be a point when we call for public comments. If you desire to make public comments, please come on the sign-up sheet. Call your name. We can keep that moving when that point of the agenda comes. With the commissioners here, I'm the executive director, Jim Harbison. Our roll call is complete. I'd ask for the two co-commissioners to approve the November 29th, 2022 agenda that was provided to you in your packets.
I approve.
Ebony? Very well, approval of the agenda. Next, I'd ask for approval of the October 26th, 2022 board meeting minutes by the two co-commissioners.
I approve.
Very well. This is the point of the agenda for public comments. Is there anybody else who would like to make a public comment that has not signed up? Okay, then we'll take the roster of public comments and work from it. For your public comments, I'd ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. We'll do our best to keep that on track up here. If it exceeds 3 minutes, I'll just ask you to curtail your remarks and finish up. Mr. Kenneth Cross. Yes, sir. Please take your 3 minutes.
We will be dispersed, right?
Excuse me?
We will be dispersed, right? We will.
That will be on the agenda later based on the board's board's decision, but yes, that's what it looks like now. We'll do 90-day notice.
And the last meeting, they said the people that paid their rent ahead of time would get their money back. Is this still in effect?
Now, the 1st of November, there will be rent forgiveness. If you paid November rent, you will be reimbursed.
Okay,
Yes,
how soon? I have a place in mind, I just need money to go.
Well, can we set that for afterwards? It'll be as quickly as we can reimburse you.
Okay.
The board has not yet voted to formalize what was proposed last time, so the board's going to vote at this meeting on a resolution authorizing us to forgive your rent. After that, we can process it. Okay? Mr. Raymond L. Did I pronounce that right?
Ivy.
Ivy, I'm sorry, sir.
All right, I'm a NAACP member at large. In other words, I don't belong to no particular chapter. I'm an activist, and I was asked to come here just like I did when I went to Carbondale, Illinois, for the ones that was misplaced here. And some of them is now being forced to move up out of there because it's up under a new ownership. And I came down here on the 10th of September, because they said the prosecuting attorney was leading a protest at the courthouse here in Cairo, Illinois, and concerning protesting against the housing authority, Alexander County Housing Authority, which that must have been postponed because I was out there myself. I have a YouTube channel, Raymond, I have a YouTube a video, and I mentioned that on that, but I came down here after that, the same day that I came and talked to some of the people in the Cornell building, which don't want to be replaced, seeing what happened to the first ones. And to let you all know, I grew up in the projects in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s in Chicago and Cabrini Green. And this very same thing that HUD is doing now, they did it to the people in Cabrini Green. They started off in the 60s and the 70s trying to move them to the suburbs where it's flooding. They put us in Cabrini Green. Most of our parents, my dad was a World War II veteran. Most of our parents was military individuals. Then when they moved them out, they said that they'll have affordable places for them. But if you look at Cabrini Green now, if you don't know about it and Google it up, people that moved out can't afford to live around there. And they talking about earthquake. If saying the earthquake gonna break this building down, I don't care what type of foundation they got, they say they have light poles or something up under it and this have metal. If it say that earthquake's gonna take that down, they'll be coming for the Shoemaker building next. And so, my thing is the people in Carbondale, some of them, they have to find their own places. Some people help them, but then how is these people going to get help? If you keep tearing something down, why don't you build something else in Cairo, Illinois, so they don't have to move somewhere else?
So you've still got about 30 seconds if you want to finish up.
That's all I got to say, and I ask some of y'all to look at the YouTube channel, Raymond and I have a YouTube channel, and you will see some of the history of what's happening here. It didn't happen in most of all black communities. Robert Taylor's in Chicago, the Henry Hornets in Cabrini Green. They doing it here, they gonna do it everywhere else.
Thank you, sir. Next is Marcella Woodson. Ma'am?
I'm Marcella Woodson. I'm Vice President of Cairo Stream.
Could you speak up just a little bit? We're trying to
I
record
can
this.
a little bit more.
Thank you.
I've been here before. I just wanted to speak today first to you all in regards to the situation, and appreciate what you just shared with us as well.
Yes, ma'am.
We are in a different time and era. 2016, 2017, the first housing crisis is gone. It's a done deal. We have people in that building that was in those buildings. They are going through a second scenario of the same thing. We have to be positive. We have to be positive about this. We can't look at gentrification of what happened to Cabrini Green and all the other places. It's happening, it'll continue to happen. What we can do is put forces together, come and unite, and build houses. And if that's the plan, please open yourselves to developers and investors coming in, to plans that's already on the table, and ways that we can get the negativity out of what's going on. Not just on the full spectrum of it, but we have to look at the well-being mentally of these residents. We have to look at the safety of the environment thus far. Some people will take vouchers, some people won't. For those that we have asked time for, that are willing to stay in the fight. Utilize the time that we have to get involved and make a difference. Don't come to the meetings complaining about what happened in 2016 or 2017. Come out to the meetings where we're taking actions and making plans. That's all I asked you to do. I'm not a housing resident. I moved back to Cairo after 31 years to fight this housing crisis in 2017. And I'm here and I'm watching the work of my past 6 years take effect. So positive input, positive attitudes, unity, right? With the residents, the government, the municipalities, the decision makers. It's not about money. It's about the well-being of 86 and 83-year-old people that are in this building that's been here 30 and 40 years that now have no family members and have nowhere to go. Right. Time will allow these people to stay in this building until new houses are available for them to transfer over into. How about we think about that instead of what's happened in the prior years? We're in the present. What matters is the present and moving forward in the future. Our past defines that, but it doesn't define who we are.
Right.
So let's get past all of that and move forward.
We have about a minute left.
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry with the handwriting. 303 Colonel Smith. Victor?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I was just thinking, it is, normally put me, I am a terrible person. I really, am like in, situation. I'm not a person really outgoing. And I do, believe in my area of this, but I'm familiar with it. So, I would just, like, I would like to do, continue being as I need and get more information on what's to do to get established in a better way. I don't mind certain ways, but see, I'm not a person that really, likes a lot of ways, but I have already applied for an apartment, I've got it. It's not out of Cairo, I'll be honest with you, but I'm still gonna be in Cairo. But as for this, I'm gonna go away. And I just wish to know more about the situation, because I have a counselor and everything, I want to inform them of what to do. They were saying something about signing for vouchers and things. Yes, I'll take one if I can, but I want to be able to be more legit in my way.
Mr. Reed? You go right? Elvis?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Elvis Reed.
Yes, sir.
Friend of mine, Union Plumber, told me 3 weeks ago, he said, Cairo, that the Bonneville Corporation wants to build a biodiesel plant in this area. They want to buy this whole side of the Mississippi River. I happened to look on the internet and found in 2006, Senator Obama came down here to speak on behalf of the Bonneville Corporation. And they said that they committed to CEO Thousand said we can expect to see a lot of jobs in 15 months, but Bonneville needs to build this new facility along the banks of the Mississippi River. Number two, when they closed the housing, I think in 2000, McBride and Elwood, they had a 5-year agreement to rebuild new housing. I think they got funding and they never did do it. Am I right? And this, and this 10/27/2022, SIU, Southern Illinois newspaper says the reason they gave for moving the people out of the Congress building is the engineer's recent architectural assessment that the high-rise building is at risk of collapsing because there's an earthquake. Cairo ain't never had an earthquake. Not that I know of. That's what it is. Oh, wait a minute. What is HUD? Does HUD have relocation rules that they gotta go by?
Yes.
It's under code federal regulations?
To my knowledge, yes, sir.
Okay, all right then.
I'll just say that we have, at the resident meeting that's coming up, we're gonna have folks from our relocation team speak to it.
When is that meeting gonna come up?
3
at
o'clock.
3 o'clock.
You got another meeting after this one?
Stick around. Stick around.
Mr. Matthews, Philip Matthews, sir?
I want to say to the board real quickly, as I spoke to Jim, stated to him, the only problem I'm having in all this is, all this is moving real fast for everybody. And while it's easy to come in and say to people, we need to move you. And I told Jim it would have been better for some type of contingency plan put in place that where, okay, we need to move you, but this is where we're going to move you to. And the only problem I'm having now is that we didn't get that opportunity to know beforehand. And as I said earlier, that even though HUD had knowledge of the architectural or the engineer that was actually surveying the building, at that particular point in time, I think that the residents should have known that, hey, there's a possibility this may occur.
Right.
But I was also thinking in my mind, well, wait a minute. We've always known that there was housing needed in Cairo. We knew that back as far as when McBride and Elwood was being demolished. Right. So had we, and which is all water on the bridge now, we can't go back and undo. So I'm saying, if we're gonna take this time to say to people, we have to, you have to relocate. I would much prefer that we take this time to put something here so they can relocate to something here in Alexander County, because I know that there's funding. And I keep saying, you all spent $10 million to do what in this building over here? Guys, man, $10 million could have dropped 40 miles, 50 miles of homes. And it may not have solved the problem for everybody, but it would have solved the problem for some people. And I'm asking the board to consider this, better utilize this money that you all have. And I'm looking at all the money that HUD used to relocate all these people, to demolish all these buildings, all these vouchers. I was just intrigued to know exactly from 2017 until this day exactly how much money HUD has spent on all of the relocations, the vouchers, the demolition, the revitalization.
Amen.
Say it.
And then think in our minds and our hearts, okay, why do all of this if the people just simply have to move? It makes no sense to me. So I'm asking the board to really reconsider, if we're going to come and say these people have this many days to move, well, how many days or how much time can we put some housing there? Because it only takes about a couple of weeks to drop some modular homes. I know, because my mother had the first modular home in Cairo in 1996. And I watched how fast they put that foundation down, dropped that plumbing in there, and she was in there. So I know this can be done at an elevated rate. I just don't see the need to keep having these people move from this building to this building. You're going to take this building down, have them move to Jackson County. Somebody's going to evict them out of there and move them here. You all have to stop this. This is going to be ridiculous. So I'm saying you all consider that, hey, a lot of money is being spent frivolously. It's still taxpayer money. I'm still a taxpayer. And I'm starting to ask questions. Okay, we spent $10 million over here. I just don't see it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comments. Do you mind if I just respond to one thing that you said, which is that $10 million, it sticks with me because, first off, I'm a relatively new commissioner, but that $10 million was not only in one building, right? So that $10 million was investment in all the Alexander County housing departments. I just want to throw that out there because I've seen that number of news articles and it's not true, and so I just wanted to clarify that information. But you're welcome to attend any of our, obviously this is our board meeting, we're gonna go over our financials. We had our RAB meeting where we talked about our financials, but we're open and transparent with any of the financials that you'd like to see, and we can give an accounting of all the capital funds and operating funds that have been spent.
So you said the board does have a plan to keep the residents here in Alexander County?
I didn't. I'm gonna let Jim speak to that at the next meeting. Fair enough. I just want, honestly, I was just talking to clarify the $10 million figure that I just keep hearing it drives me nuts because it's not true.
Well, that's
so my question would be, you said the $10 million figure is not true.
Sir, if I could ask, would you like public comments?
Oh, no.
No,
I was going to ask him a question, yeah.
Well, and that'd be your public comments. The next gentleman is Mr.
All right.
Stephen Tarver. And if you'd like to speak after, that'd be fine.
All right.
So we'll just have to keep it.
Yeah, I understand.
So the next would be Stephen Tarver.
Were you saying this?
Yeah, just his comments are.
All right. First of all, I would like to say I'm glad that you guys are back again. These conversations have been very overwhelming for most, but very knowledgeable for me. I've learned a lot about HUD and planning and operations over these last few weeks. My first comment is that I am very sad about the survey. It's not acceptable, no matter how I look at it, no matter how I toss this thing around. The earthquake theory will never ever settle with me. But we can't do nothing about that, so we move on. Secondly, I am a member of the Resident Advisory Board. I have been sitting in meetings for over a year now, and I have seen how funds have been requested for emergency purposes for several different things. I've seen how funds have been used to upgrade a building that they're talking about tearing down now. I've seen funds. So I know that there's funding, there's funds. We had a conversation earlier about some capital funding that's sitting in accounts right now. So that's already being discussed. I love the conversations that we have about the past, but the past is over. Even to the point where we're talking about the Smith building. that decision has already been made, you guys. HUD has made a decision that is unsafe due to a survey. So we have to come to grips with that. Safety is important, because as a resident, I'm concerned about safety also. But then we have to talk about morals, common sense, time, because then we have to look at options. We understand safety. We understand the possibilities of earthquakes. But we also understand there's 80-year-olds, there's people that's been here for umpteen years. You're asking people to jump from comfortability to unknown from a survey. So my grips with this whole situation, as I'm learning more and getting a better understanding, I want to ask HUD to pump the brakes. Look at all the options that's available right now. Because as this situation has become another spot in the news concerning Cairo and housing, there's been developers jumping out of the wazoos. There's been investors jumping out of the wazoo. There's been humane societies. People probably want to donate. I mean, people want to help. Because they understand that this is really a situation. We're talking about a survey. We're talking about earthquakes. And we gotta talk about all of these different buildings that's affected if we're gonna talk about just Cairo. So there has to be a discussion longer than 90 days between HUD, residents, municipality, the leaders, discuss ways of looking at the other opportunities. Sure, there's some of you guys that want to take advantage of the voucher system. Let's do it. That's what they're here for. It's going to happen. If you want to take advantage, let's see how you can max out on it. Get the most out of the voucher system. Get a better understanding of what they're going to offer so that when you do move, you know what you're supposed to get. But for those who want to stay, let's keep talking about discussions outside of the vouchers, because that's where we would like to meet them at. If those discussions continue to happen, then I feel better. But if the only thing that you're going to say today is you got 90 days to do such and such and such, and that's where we stand, then that's going to be a problem. And it's going to be an unacceptable way of leaving us in Cairo again.
All right.
Mr. Romello or?
Oh, he pretty much covered my base. I just wanted to know about the financials, but he said he was gonna go. He covered it. I just wanted to make sure I can open and speak and say that if he covered it.
It's in our list. Does anyone else in the group, anyone in the public have comments?
I'd like to make one if I could.
Stand up, sir, so I can.
Yes. My name is John Shadowins. I work for the University of Illinois Extension. And my connection to Cairo has come about through working on trying to get our grocery store off the ground. And I've been working with several people in this room. I really come to just respect and admire the people of Cairo. But I'm also mindful of the data around Cairo. This is a community over the last 100 years. Used to be 15,300 people in this community. As we stand right now, we have 1,700. A lot of the decline of Cairo inadvertently has been accelerated by HUD, and McBride Elwood, and now what's happening here. And I'm just, from an outside observer, I see investors and politicians and developers wanting to invest in Cairo. But I think Stephen Tarver's right. There are a lot of eyes on this community right now seeing what happens with this moment and the decisions that are made. I would really encourage HUD and any people who have influence over it to really seize this moment and open every possibility. We've been here about dropping in modular homes in this community. What a great investment it would be to keep everybody here. There's not been new home construction in the town for almost 50 years, from what I understand. What would it do to revitalize site-built homes scattered throughout this community, to revitalize those communities, and to keep people here so that places like this grocery store are viable? A grocery store is not viable if we continue to lose population until we're down to the last couple hundred people, and then you turn out the lights. So Just as a partner in the future of the city of Cairo, I just wanted to put that on the table and say there are outside entities that want to partner and support and help. I'm hearing from people all over the state that are concerned. I'm on a call every month with people from St. Louis all the way up to Chicago that are asking what's going on in Cairo, how can we help Cairo, what's the next thing we can do for Cairo? And those are all people who can be employed to help the future development of the city, but only if we can keep residents here in their homes. Thank you.
So anyone else in the public cares to make comments? Care to make comments? With that, yes, ma'am. Please go ahead. Can you just tell us who you are, please?
Yes, I'm Nancy Maxwell.
Go ahead.
I'm a former resident of Cairo. And I still work with Cairo on several things. In fact, I have a grant that we're working on together from Carnegie to Cairo. And I just want to ask y'all, if this was a building full of white people, what would the difference be? I've helped the people in Cairo that got moved to Carbondale. Do you know how hard, regardless of the vouchers, it was to get them in another house? Do you know that some people didn't even get a voucher in 2017? One man got boarded up in the house because he didn't even have nowhere to go. And unfortunately, these seem to be mostly African Americans.
Amen.
So make a liar out of me by telling me that you would do the same thing for some white residents as you would do for some black ones. This city has been, just like he just said, the population is smaller and smaller and smaller. And unfortunately, it's one race that's leaving up out here.
Amen.
So I'm asking you, HUD, to change my mind, to change this theory that this is not gentrification, because this is exactly what it looks like. People are saying that they can put up houses everywhere. All the options, all the solutions is here. So why are we tearing down the building and sending some more people out of Cairo? Can somebody answer me that?
On those answers, I think HUD will present that at 3 o'clock. I'm the executive director on the contract, so I have to defer to them for those answers. So, but thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else in the public who'd like to make comments?
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
They put $40 million down here like 2 years ago for the Cairo port. And the government sent another $3 million down here last month. Since then, Suzanne Mendoza spent $2.1 million on studies. It said the reason they moving these people out because they're getting ready to rebuild Cairo. They want to put black people around there. When the Cairo port supposed to start? Do you know anything?
No, sir, I have no knowledge of Cairo.
That's a lot of money down here. They spent $45 million.
No, sir, they didn't spend $45 million.
Huh?
They
They sent it down here.
No, they awarded us $40 million. They're gonna release $4 million of it.
Right.
That's all.
So I'd like to keep this constrained to housing authority business. So the port's interesting, but not important to the housing authority right now. So is there anyone else in the public who'd like to make comments?
I just want to make sure that you said that these questions that are being asked will be answered sometime later, I
believe all
guess.
those questions will be answered by Mr. Cunningham. That's the purpose of this presentation.
Okay.
I've not seen the presentation, I don't know what's in it, but I understand those questions will be answered over here.
Okay.
And we recorded this for the minutes. Was there anyone else that wanted, we had some people, anyone else who wanted to make public comments? We'll close public comment. Okay, thank you. The public comments are closed. We'll move on now to the executive director's report of the